So, a couple of days back, I was taking an interview and I felt like that the candidate, even though he understands the stuff, right, he was not able to communicate. Even though while grilling, I was able to understand since I have taken hundreds of interviews. So, I can see that this guy knows stuff. But when it comes to communicate or conveying the real understanding, right? He was not very good at that. Now, since I can gauge, so I asked the questions in that way, so he reveals himself. His nervousness basically gets subsided, and he tells what he understands actually. Even though, but I have done that. But let me tell you that not every interviewer is like that, right? Communication is a very important skill. You may prepare a lot of things, you may master the topics, but until unless you can convey, you can structure your thoughts, your understanding in a way that that goes and properly received by the receiver, by the audience, be it an interviewer or in a meeting, it's your boss or anyone. That is this one skill that is going to that is overarching. That is something that indispensable in today's time, especially. This is that one unique skill which is going to survive even the AI wave, right? Because humans are going to interact with humans, and ultimately when it comes to the assessing the quality or decision making, we are going to interact with humans, right? And those who are possessing good communication skill are definitely going to stand out, right? So, in this video, in just a short time, I would try to give you a framework which is very important and works very well when it comes to communication. Okay, so if you follow it, if you bring it into practice, I bet that you are going to nail it. So this how this framework work is. Number one, right? Make logical connections in your mind, right? When I say logical connection, if you are studying any concept, think through as if asking the right questions, because when you ask the right questions, the logical flow of neurons, they get trigger, and they hold acquire your learnings in the data in a much profound way. So for example, any topic, right, you go for what is that topic, why this is required, what is the problem this is going to solve, right? For example, if someone asks you about a project in your current company, right, you just don't go and start with, okay, we bring this, you're just as if talking about the intricacies of the project. That's not going to help. Rather, if someone asks you, you should start with why that project, what was the need of that project, what was the problem it was trying to solve, and then what were the challenges that were there and how you overcame with it, right? What steps you have taken and how it resolved. So you see, there is kind of a cause and effect mechanism, right? Which is very logical, that why something you are doing. And that will not just, convey your things in a very structured way, but also makes you look very confident, right? It feels like you understand, and you understand deeply what you do, and it's a part of your nature, that you are not just a kind of person who just, okay, whatever being told, just you have done it. No, you understand in and out of it, you go for it, you give your ideas around it, right? So that kind of message you need to communicate through this structural flow, right? That is one thing. Another thing is, which many times it happens, that if the other person is quite authoritative, right, and you're not able to rather than going into a conflict, or you're not able to the way you are telling, he's not supposed liking it, and cross questioning or grilling you in a way that feels a little offensive as well. But then that's where the real patience test happens, and you need to be calm and put the ball in their court. Now, how that happens is you should ask, okay, now this is what you see, or it's the way you are saying, I completely agree to it, but I would like to have your suggestion, right? Or I would like to know that if you feel like this is something I've said wrongly, can you please, enlighten me on that? I would love to have your feedback and incorporate it in my further, I'm going to learn it in a much better way. So such attitude, right? Immediately, even though the other person, when he would be going in that mode of, maybe on an ego clash or something, and or being authoritative, maybe part of the nature. But the moment you give the control in that person's hand, he would feel that authority. It's like little massaging the ego, right? And that's a human nature. Once you have given the power, rather than being offended and argue on that point, rather you are saying, okay, that you have given me this feedback and I'll take care. I'm really gonna imbibe it in my learnings. And where do you see that my answer is going wrong? Can you elaborate? I would definitely either restructure or rephrase it, right? Such things shows the maturity, and that goes a really long way. Now, the third thing is, in any communication, always take care of one thing, which is that always try to understand the other person's intent and perspective. Just like in competitions, right? For example, CAT exam or any exam, when you solve the reading comprehension, the whole intention is to understand the intent, what author is trying to say. In a similar way, the other person, when he's speaking, or the interviewer, right, try to gauge what he's looking with that answer, rather than just start answering, right? Because that sometimes rather goes in a very wrong way, or they perceive you wrongly if you just blabbering about something which is not even relevant. So always listen, give a thought, don't rush on speaking, take a pause, tell slowly, structurally, and try to gauge the intent of asking that particular question. Now, that question may be related to some concept or some nuances of that particular concept. So don't just tell what it's not an examination where you have to write what whether whatever be the question, like academic exams, right? We all have done that. But here the real question is why this is being asked. So if you know and contemplate on why this is being asked, you can better structure a question in that answer in that way. And also, if you feel that the at the periphery of it and not at the core, then you can convey it that way, rather than circumventing with being a verbose on speaking a lot of things and then not coming to the point. It makes them feel irritated sometimes. So understand the intent, tell in that way, okay, I think this is the this is the objective, or this is what you're looking for, and I know about this but the core thing I'm happy to explore, but I know that this is one. So when you structure it that way, the person understands that at least you listen properly and then you answer it, right? So this is the 3 steps framework for any interview that you are giving, and I wish you all the best, and please stay tuned, and if you like it, please subscribe, and I'll keep coming to you to distill my years of experience and give you something really productive and meaningful. Thank you so much. I love you.